The red and blue lights shimmered across Lake Serenity like something out of a crime drama as I stood calmly on my dock, watching Patricia Harrington lose her mind. She waved her arms wildly at the police officers, her shrill voice echoing over the water as she pointed at my modest wooden dock like it was a drug operation. "That structure is illegal," she screamed. "It's built on HOA property, and he's trespassing on community water rights. I want him arrested immediately." Officer Brooks approached me while his partner stayed back with Patricia. He glanced at the dock, then at me, then back at her tantrum. "Sir," he said evenly, "I'll need to see any documentation you have for this dock." I smiled, reached into my tackle box, and handed him a waterproof folder. As he read, his eyebrows climbed higher with every page. But before I tell you why the police suddenly stopped listening to Patricia, let me rewind a bit. My name is Daniel Foster. 3 months earlier, I'd moved into Lakewood Estates after retiring from 30 years as a wildlife conservation officer. This place was my dream retirement: quiet mornings, clean water, and a chance to teach kids how to respect nature instead of exploiting it. The house came with direct lake access, and within a week I built a simple 15-foot dock, nothing fancy, treated lumber, safety railings, fully up to code, designed to protect the shoreline, not damage it. For the first few days, everything was peaceful. Then Patricia Harrington introduced herself. She was the HOA president, always dressed in soft pastels, smiling like she was doing you a favor by breathing the same air. 1 week after the dock was finished, she marched down my lawn while I was teaching a 10-year-old neighbor how to tie a fishing knot. "That structure was not approved," she said sharply. "You'll need to submit Form 7B and wait for architectural review." I calmly explained the dock was on my property and complied with state regulations. She cut me off. "HOA rules supersede your personal preferences. You should review the bylaws." From that moment on, she made my dock her personal crusade. Violation notices appeared daily: unapproved structure, waterfront obstruction, visual impact concerns. Then came the fines. $25, then $50, then doubling every week. I kept every notice. At HOA meetings, Patricia turned my dock into a horror story. She showed blurry photos and warned residents it could collapse at any moment. She accused me of running an unauthorized business, claimed insurance violations, suggested I was endangering the neighborhood. When none of that worked, she escalated. On a quiet Thursday evening, while I cleaned fish on my dock, the sirens arrived, and Patricia stood in my driveway smiling like she'd finally won. She thought the police were there to shut me down. She had no idea she'd just exposed herself instead. Patricia didn't give up after the police humiliation. If anything, she doubled down. The very next morning, bright orange notices appeared on every mailbox near the lake, stamped with bold black letters: "Emergency HOA meeting, illegal water use." By noon, my phone buzzed nonstop as neighbors forwarded the message, confused and nervous. That evening, the community center filled faster than I'd ever seen. Patricia stood at the podium like a general preparing for battle, flanked by 2 board members who looked increasingly uncomfortable. She launched straight into it, voice sharp and rehearsed. According to her, the police had been misled, the documents were under review, and the HOA would be temporarily restricting all lake access for safety reasons. That was her mistake. Before she could continue, Officer Brooks walked in, uniform, crisp, calm authority filling the room. Behind him was a representative from the Department of Natural Resources. The murmurs turned into whispers. Patricia froze mid-sentence. Officer Brooks addressed the room. "We're here to clarify misinformation. Lake Serenity is state-managed water. The HOA has never had jurisdiction over it. The DNR representative stepped forward and explained in painstaking detail that I wasn't just permitted to maintain the dock, I was required to provide public access and education as part of a conservation partnership that predated the HOA itself. Then came the twist Patricia never saw coming. The DNR official revealed they'd opened an inquiry after discovering years of unauthorized fee collection, fishing passes, boat stickers, even lake maintenance charges. None of that money had ever gone to the state. The room erupted. Neighbors demanded refunds. Board members exchanged panicked looks. Patricia tried to regain control. "This meeting isn't authorized," she snapped. Robert Morrison cut her off. "Neither were your fees." A vote was called on the spot. Patricia's enforcement powers were suspended immediately. A second vote approved a full financial audit. A third motion appointed me as interim waterfront liaison to ensure compliance with actual regulations. Every motion passed by overwhelming margins. Over the following weeks, the neighborhood transformed. Fear evaporated. Parents brought their kids to the dock without looking over their shoulders. I issued legitimate permits, taught conservation basics, and answered questions Patricia had shut down for years. The lake felt alive again. Then, the final blow landed. Patricia received a certified letter from the state, an $8,000 fine, mandatory environmental education, 40 hours. The location? My dock. The first day she showed up, she wouldn't meet my eyes. Gone was the pastel cardigan tyrant. She sat in a folding chair with a notebook like a scolded student. I cleared my throat and began. "Welcome to Lake Conservation 101, I said evenly. "Attendance is mandatory." For the first time since I moved to Lakewood Estates, Lake Serenity was finally peaceful. Not because of HOA rules, but because the truth surfaced. And Patricia Harrington, she didn't run the lake anymore. She just had to learn how it actually worked. Stay tuned for the next video. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it.